Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Brett Knybel, your favorite Michigan Realtor here with the Knybel Real Estate Network. And today we're tackling a topic that's been on so many of your minds, trading those Michigan winters for that Florida sunshine. If you're dreaming of sandy beaches, year-round golf, and leaving the snow shovel behind, this video is your ultimate pre-snowbird guide to making that cross-country leap. We're going to deep dive into everything you need to know, from selling your Michigan home to understanding the wild world of Florida living. Trust me, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Sometimes it's hurricanes and humidity, but we'll get into that. Get ready for a fun, informative, and perhaps a little bit humorous journey from the Great Lakes to the Sunshine State. All right, let's kick things off with arguably the most crucial first step, and that's selling your Michigan home. I hear it all the time. People start looking at those gorgeous Florida listings, see the prices, and ultimately think, okay, I need to get this much for my house in Michigan to afford that. And that's where we ultimately always hit our first speed bump, folks. The very first and most important piece of the puzzle is to truly understand your Michigan home's market value. You see, the Florida market and the Michigan market, those are two totally different beasts. What something is worth here might be completely different from what you expect. So before you even start to browse Zillow and beachfront bungalows, let's get real about your current property value. My number one advice here is don't go at it alone. This isn't the time for guesswork. As a local Michigan realtor, I can tell you exactly what your home is truly worth in today's market. Having myself or somebody do a comprehensive market analysis that's looking at all the comparable sales, the current inventory, and the unique features of your property that gives it its ultimate value. It's free and it's no obligation. It's a free conversation, and it's truly the foundation of your successful move. You need to do that first. Once you know your number, then you can start thinking about prepping your home to get, well, top dollar. This isn't about the massive renovations, folks, unless we decide it's strategically smart after your market analysis. This is about making your home shine. Declutter, declutter, and declutter. Seriously, I can't stress this enough. Less stuff equals more space, and the more space feels bigger and more inviting. Think like a minimalist for at least a few weeks. And deep clean. From the baseboards to the ceiling fans, a sparkling clean home screams well-maintained to potential buyers. Now, minor repairs, leaky faucets, sticky doors, a loose cabinet knob, those small things can add up in a buyer's mind and can make them think your house is a bigger project and has a lot more hidden issues than it really does. The curb appeal. First impressions are everything. Trim those bushes, plant some flowers, power wash the siding, make them fall in love before they even step through the door. Neutralize. That vibrant orange accent wall you truly love, it might not be for everybody and it's not their cup of tea. Consider neutral paint colors to broaden your home's natural appeal to buyers. Professional photos. And this is just a non-negotiable in today's market. Good photos sell homes, period. Remember, the goal here is to make your Michigan home as appealing as possible to the widest range of buyers we possibly can, so you can maximize that return and fund your Florida dream home. Okay, so you've got your Michigan home in tip-top shape and it's ready to sell. Now let's talk about Florida. Most people think sunshine, beaches, no snow, what's not to love? And while that's all true, there are some significant nuances, some fun, some a bit of a reality check that Michigan natives often don't fully grasp until they're living in Florida. First off, the weather is a major difference, and it's not just warm versus cold, it's humidity. Michigan is summer humidity, sure, but Florida's humidity is completely a different beast. It's constant. Your hair will be different, your clothes might feel damp, and your AC bill, get ready for it. Then there's the wildlife. In Michigan, maybe you see a deer, a squirrel, and a groundhog. In Florida, think alligators in the retention ponds, snakes in your yards, lizards everywhere, and bugs the size of small birds. It's nature on steroids. Embrace it or prepare for some startling surprises. The pace of life can also feel different. While Michigan has its busy areas, Florida, especially in touristy hubs, can feel like a constant vacation land. which also means there's more traffic, there's more people, and sometimes a less neighborly feel in highly transient areas. You might find more of a laid-back vibe in the smaller, less touristy towns, but it's definitely something to consider when you're picking your next place. Water everywhere. Michigan is the Great Lakes state, so we understand water, but Florida is practically built on water. This means flood zones, they're a real thing, and flood insurance is often a necessity, not an option. We'll delve into insurance more later in this video, but trust me, it's a big deal. And speaking of water, lakes in Florida aren't like the Michigan lakes. Our lakes are often glacial, deep, and very clear. Florida lakes can be shallow, dark, and yes, they often have alligators. The lake life down there is a completely different experience. Community associations and HOAs. In Michigan, HOAs exist, but in Florida, they're everywhere. Gated communities, master planned developments, condos, almost all of them come with an HOA. This means rules, this means regulations, and it means fees. Read those documents carefully. They can dictate everything from what color you can paint the front door of your house and to where you can park your boat. One subtle but significant difference is indoor versus the outdoor living. In Michigan, we pack as much as we can into our precious warm months. In Florida, your outdoor space is an extension of your home year-round. Screened lanais, outdoor kitchens, pools, these are often integral parts of the Florida lifestyle, and they come with their own maintenance and cost considerations. And finally, driving habits. Let's just say this. Florida drivers have a reputation, and it's not always a good one. Be prepared for more aggressive driving, lots of tourists who have no idea where they're going, and general chaos is all over the roads. Defensive driving, it'll become your superpower. It's not about one being better than the other, it's about understanding the unique characteristics of each state. Knowledge is power when you're making such a big life change. Okay, let's talk numbers, specifically the cost of getting all your Michigan goodies down to the Sunshine State. Moving across the country, it isn't cheap, and with a good plan, you can budget effectively. All right, professional movers. This is often the biggest line item. For a cross-country move from Michigan to Florida, you're generally looking anywhere between $1,100 for a small apartment to upwards of $9,000 or more for a larger home. And this really just depends on the volume and weight. The more stuff that you have equals more cost. It's that simple. Also, the distance. Obviously, the further you move, the pricier it is. The time of the year, summer, which is the peak moving system, it's going to cost more. And services. Do you want packing, unpacking, disassembling, and reassembling furniture? All those will be added to your bill. And then specialty items. You have pianos, hot tubs, safes, large art pieces. Those all come with additional charges. Now there's DIY moving. If you're feeling adventurous and want to save some money, renting a truck like a U-Haul or using a moving container service like Pods or a U-Pack, those are some options. A truck rental, if you're to do this, expect costs for a truck itself, fuel, which can be substantial for a long drive, especially with diesel trucks, the insurance, and potentially lodging on the way down. Probably a 26-foot truck can cost you anywhere between $7,000 and $13,000 for an 11-day rental with fuel and all the necessary coverages. And the moving containers, these are great for like a hybrid option. They drop off a container, you pack it up in your driveway and pick it up and ship it. This can range anywhere between $8,000 and $10,000 or sometimes more. It's just depending on the size and the number of containers you really need. But don't forget about the hidden costs. Packing supplies, boxes, tape, bubble wrap, that stuff all adds up. Temporary storage. If your new Florida home isn't ready, you might need short-term storage. Travel expenses. Gas for your cars, food, hotels on the journey, and potentially plane tickets if you're going to fly. New furniture and appliances. You might realize some of your Michigan furniture doesn't quite fit the Florida vibe, so you'll be buying some new furniture and appliances. Utility hookups and deposits. These are often overlooked, and these can add up to a few $100s when you move in. My advice, get at least 3 quotes from reputable movers or container companies. Just give yourself some options. And please read the reviews, check the licenses, and make sure their estimates are binding. And for heaven's sake, start decluttering now and selling off your unwanted items today. Less to move equals less money spent. So you've sold your Michigan house, you're packed up, and you're heading south. The big question for many is, should I buy a house right away? Or should I rent first? This is a fantastic question, and for a lot of people, especially pre-snowbirds, renting first can actually be a really smart move. Here's why renting can be beneficial. Location, location, location. You've definitely heard it before, and it's even truer in Florida. Each city, each neighborhood, even each development can have a vastly different feel. Renting allows you to kind of explore these different areas without the commitment of a mortgage. Do you prefer a quiet Gulf Coast or a bustling Atlantic? Do you want to be near theme parks or pristine nature preserves? Do you like the city vibe or more of the suburban feel? Living there for 6 months to a year gives you invaluable insight that you won't get anywhere else. Now, the climate adjustment. Yes, it's warm, but the humidity, the thunderstorms, the hurricane season, experiencing a full year of Florida weather cycles helps you understand what you truly need in your home, like a sturdy roof, hurricane shutters, and really good air conditioning systems. Now, market insight. The Florida real estate market is dynamic. Renting gives you time to observe local trends, understand pricing, and identify the types of homes that are truly appealing to you. You might discover that what you thought you wanted online isn't what you actually want when you're living there. Stress reduction. Moving cross country is already stressful. Adding the pressure of buying a house sight unseen is kind of doing the unthinkable to yourself. Renting takes off that immediate pressure that you're feeling. Financial flexibility. It gives you time to sort out your finances, get comfortable with the cost of living differences, and potentially save you more for a down payment or unexpected expenses. Now, let's be real. Renting isn't without some downsides. Rent can be expensive, especially in the popular touristy areas. You won't be building any equity, and you're definitely going to have to move twice. But for many, the trade-off of gaining crucial local knowledge and making a truly informed purchasing decision is well worth the temporary inconvenience and cost of renting. This is especially true if you're moving without strong computer skills. This is a big thing we struggle with. Searching for homes online can be incredibly frustrating if you're not comfortable navigating websites, understanding virtual tours, and digital paperwork. Renting first allows you to settle in, maybe take some community college computer courses, and you can get comfortable with the tech side of the house hunting search because it's different than it used to be before you dive deep into a giant purchase. All right, here's a topic that often surprises people moving from Michigan to Florida, and that's property taxes. And this leads us to a popular strategy for some pre-snowbirds keeping a Michigan home and buying a second home in Florida. First, let's demystify property taxes. Michigan property taxes. In Michigan, our property taxes are generally higher compared to other states, including Florida. The average effective property tax rate in Michigan is around 1.62% of the home's value, which we have the principal residence exemption that lowers the taxable value if it's your primary residence. But overall, Michigan taxes, they still feel pretty hefty. Florida property taxes. Florida generally has lower property tax rates, averaging around 0.79% of the home's assessed value. But, and this is a big but, the magic word in Florida property taxes is homestead exemption. If your Florida property is your primary residence, you can apply for a homestead exemption, which can reduce your home's assessed value by up to $50,000, significantly lowering your tax bill. Save Our Homes Amendment, the SOH. This is another huge benefit in Florida. Once you have a homestead exemption, your assessed value cannot increase by more than 3% annually or the percentage change in the consumer price index. It goes by whichever is less. This protects you from rapid increases in your property taxes, even if your home's market value skyrockets. This is a massive long-term benefit. So what about the two-home strategy? Many Michiganders approaching retirement or those who want to ease into Florida living choose to keep their Michigan home and purchase a second property in Florida. Why do people do this? Gradual transition. It allows for a slower, less abrupt change, and you can spend winters in Florida and summers in Michigan, testing the waters and seeing if Florida is truly your long-term fit. Family ties. Many people have strong family ties here in Michigan, and they aren't ready to completely sever them. Having a Michigan base allows them to easily return from holidays, family events, or even just see the grandkids. Investment. In some cases, the Michigan home might be a good investment property, providing rental income, and it continues to appreciate in value. Sentimental value. Their Michigan home might hold decades of memories, and they're just not ready to let it go. Homestead protection in both. This is key. You can only claim a primary residence homestead exemption in one state. Your Michigan home is still your primary residence. That's where you'd claim your principal residence exemption. Your Florida home would be considered secondary residence and would not qualify for the Florida homestead exemption or the Save Our Home benefit. This means your Florida property taxes could be significantly higher than if it were your primary residence. This is crucial. This is crucial financial advice to truly consider. When does it make sense to finally sell that Michigan house? Increase time in Florida. When you find yourself spending more and more time in Florida and less in Michigan, it might be time to sell. It becomes a financial burden. When maintaining two homes, it becomes a financial strain, and or the costs of the upkeep for the Michigan home outweigh the benefits of keeping it. Desire for simplicity. Many retirees seek to simplify their lives. Managing two properties, especially from thousands of miles away, it's a lot of work. Florida is a primary residence. When you're ready to fully commit to Florida, make it your primary residence and take advantage of that sweet homestead exemption and the Save Our Homes protection. This is often the biggest driver for selling the Michigan home. It's a very personal decision, and there's no right or wrong answer. It's about what works for you and your lifestyle and, well, your finances. Next, the boomerang effect. Why some people go to Florida just to return to Michigan. You know, I've seen it countless times. Someone packs up, they move to Florida with stars in their eyes, and then a few years later, I'm getting a call. They're back in Michigan and they want to move back full time. We call this one the boomerang effect, and it's more common than you might actually think. So why do some people move to Florida only to return to the mitten state in a short amount of time? There are several common reasons for this, and the first is the heat and humidity is just too much. This is a big one. While a week-long vacation in January feels amazing, living in 90-degree heat with 90% humidity for months on end, it can be draining. Some people just can never adapt, and they miss that crisp air and the changing seasons here in Michigan. And that's kind of the next thing, is missing the seasons. Believe it or not, some people continually and genuinely miss the fall colors, the snow, and this is distinct 4 seasons Michigan has to offer. Florida has 2 seasons, and that's hot and slightly less hot. Family and friends. This is often a big factor. Grandkids grow up fast, friends move on. That close-knit community left behind in Michigan might be harder to replicate in a new state where many people are also transients, and the social isolation can kind of add up and feel really real. The cost of living surprises too. While Florida has no state income taxes, other costs can be higher. We'll dive into this more in the next segment, but unexpected expenses can really pinch the budget. Hurricane anxiety. Living through hurricane season, constantly watching the forecast, preparing for potential storms, and dealing with the aftermath can be incredibly stressful and anxiety-inducing for some. Infrastructure strain. Florida's rapid growth means crowded roads, busy restaurants, and sometimes a feeling that the infrastructure hasn't quite caught up to the population boom. The vacation fades. The initial vacation high ultimately wears off. Daily life in Florida is still daily life. The beaches are still there, but you're still doing laundry, grocery shopping, and dealing with everyday annoyances, just with more humidity and possibly bigger bugs. Healthcare access. For some, especially as they age, finding new doctors, specialists, and navigating a new healthcare system can be very, very challenging. The job market, if you need it. If someone moved for a job and it didn't work out and they struggled to find work, that's a direct path back to Michigan. It's a testament to the fact that a dream destination isn't always a dream reality for everyone. And that's why the rent-first strategy we discussed earlier is ultimately so valuable. It allows you to truly test the waters before you make that permanent leap. Michigan has its charm, its community, and its comfortable familiarity that many ultimately find themselves missing when they're gone for some time. All right, let's talk about your wallet. Many people assume moving to Florida will automatically mean a lower cost of living. And while some aspects might be, others will definitely surprise you. And it's not always as straightforward as it might seem. Cost of living. Michigan versus Florida. The real deal. Let's break down some key categories of cost of living. The housing. Michigan. Generally, housing is more affordable in Michigan, both for purchasing and renting compared to Florida. Our median home prices tend to be lower, and you often tend to get more land for your money. Florida, housing costs can vary widely depending on the city. Miami and the South Florida region, for example, are significantly more expensive than many areas here in Michigan. Popular coastal communities also come with a premium. While some inland areas might be comparable overall, you might find yourself wondering what you can actually afford. State taxes and Social Security, the financial nuances. Now, for some real important financial nuances that often get overlooked, like state taxes and how your Social Security is going to be treated. This can be a huge factor for retirees and those planning their finances. Let's start with state income tax. Michigan. Michigan has a flat income tax rate. As of my last check, it's about 4.25%. This means a portion of your income, including most retirement income like pensions and 401k withdrawals, is subject to state income tax. In Florida, and here's where Florida shines for many, Florida has no state income tax. That's right, zero. And this means more money is in your pocket from your wages and your pensions, and most importantly, for many snowbirds, your retirement distributions. This alone can be a significant savings, especially if you have substantial retirement income. Now let's talk about Social Security. Michigan. In Michigan, a portion of your Social Security benefits may be taxed at the state level, depending on your total income and age. There are deductions and exemptions for seniors, and it's not entirely tax-free for everyone. Florida, another win for Florida. Florida does not tax Social Security benefits at the state level. So if you're primarily relying on Social Security in retirement, Florida offers a completely tax-free environment for those benefits. This is a huge draw for retirees. When you combine no state income tax with no state tax on Social Security, it can make your retirement nest egg stretch significantly further in Florida compared to Michigan. It's a powerful financial incentive. However, it is crucial to remember that what you save in state income tax, you may pay in other areas, as we discussed with property taxes. Higher insurance premiums, especially for homeowners, and car insurance rates in Florida, and potentially higher sales taxes on certain goods and services. Florida's sales tax rate is generally 6%, but many counties have additional local state taxes and sales taxes, bringing their combined rate higher in some areas. Michigan's sales tax is just still 6% flat. It's a trade-off for many, especially those with significant retirement income. The state income tax and Social Security tax benefits in Florida far outweigh the other cost differences, but it's essential to look at your entire financial picture, not just one piece of that puzzle. I always recommend consulting with a financial advisor who specializes in multi-state taxation to understand the full impact of your actual financial situation. Wow, we have covered a lot, haven't we? From selling your home here in Michigan and navigating the unique world of Florida living, understanding the costs, and even the boomerang effect. This move is a huge undertaking, and it's absolutely achievable with the right preparation and knowledge. My biggest takeaway for you today is if you're seriously considering this exciting transition, it's time to start with the most critical step first, and that's figuring out what your Michigan home is actually worth. As a Michigan Realtor, this is where I come in. Many people start by looking at Florida prices and then try to reverse engineer their Michigan's home sale. And that's like trying to bake a cake by starting with the frosting first. Let's get you a solid foundation before we get started. And if you're ready to start exploring your Florida dream, or if you just want to get a realistic assessment of your Michigan property, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'll leave all my contact information below. If you guys just have questions, feel free to reach out. We'll talk about your specific situation and help you find your sunny future in Florida. And if you have more questions about Florida living, the nuances we discussed, or anything else about this big move, my team and I are here to help. Think of me as your Michigan to Florida relocation guide. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, share it with someone else who is dreaming of going to Florida, and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any more valuable real estate insights. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.